Welcome. This is Monty, and you are?
I'm Carolyn, the co-owner of DPL Surveillance Equipment.
We run a full-service surveillance and security equipment company. We have lifetime guarantees and warranties on all the products.
And you can, we're live now.
We have 24/7, 365 tech sales and customer support.
And we have lifetime guarantee and warranty on all our products if they stop working or defective. And you can, we have rentals and layaways.
And you can give us a call anytime there's a problem associated with our products. Unlike the competition, we want to hear from you, whether it's 5 days, 5 months, or 5 years after the fact. Our customers can rest assured that they can call us anytime and receive technical, sales, and customer support, right?
Yeah, it's not 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. It's 24/7, 365, just like it says.
Now, our particular company, in addition to all of that, you guys, we are actually really big into education. We like to offer you informative articles and podcasts and YouTube videos, etc. And so some of the things that we've covered over the years are what do they include, Carolyn? Well, we give Facebook a little bit of time to round up friends and different viewers.
We've done Bitcoin. We've done going off the grid. About cell phone hacking.
Right, the list just goes on and on and on.
It does.
And what we're doing is we have a compilation of all of these meetups. We call them meetups. We have a local coffee shop in our area where we invite people who want to learn and educate themselves about these particular subjects. We have people drop in, they want to learn about Bitcoin. We recently did the anti-terrorist, active shooter subject matter. And we had a number of people who dropped in because they were interested in that.
And also surveillance.
Right, surveillance, where we covered our own products and counter surveillance, exactly.
Mm-hmm. So today our subject is electronic harassment.
Now the reason why we're covering electronic harassment is because we just happen to have a full complement of products, actually, because over the years a number of our customers, they've called in and they talk about such things as being electronically harassed and such, right, Carolyn?
Yeah, and satellite-based technology is called satellite-based directed technology.
Directed energy, right,
yeah,
exactly.
Directed energy.
And directed energy weapons, rather, really covers a lot of different types of technologies. And our customers have been talking about being harassed by government and or corporate America, wealthy business associates and relatives, etc., right?
Yeah, and another word for it is electromagnetic torture.
Right.
There's a few different descriptions of that. And
see, a lot of the customers, they call in initially and they say such things as, we're hearing people beam voices and such to our heads, and we're
feeling burning sensations in our body. We're getting dizzy. We're feeling fatigue.
Right, and
sleeplessness,
insomnia is a very big one, right?
And it's called chronic fatigue syndrome for those who are also experience, like when you go to the dentist and you have mercury fillings, that also affects your health also.
Right, and see, initially, we didn't. I think 10 or 15 years ago, when we started receiving these calls, we didn't think that this was credible. We thought, okay, these people are obviously delusional, and maybe they're making things up. Yeah. Maybe they don't understand exactly what's happening. But as the calls kept coming in from all over the United States and all over the world, we started to see patterns, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I thought a lot of them were prank calls, but actually we found out over the years that so many calls, they can't just be all prank calls. There has to be some substance to this.
Now, just to give you guys an example, how credible this has become, there's a lady, I'll try to find this article, there's a lady by the name of Kathleen Watterson, right?
Yeah, and she has a case. She found out that the ARO company, Aero, a satellite company, was pointing a satellite dish at her house, which the satellite dish should be pointing up to the sky, not at somebody else. 2014.
There was actually a case successfully argued and proven in a court of law. And what happened was, as Carolyn mentioned, Kathleen Watterson, she, with the help of a lawyer, Levi McCann, MC, capital CANN, he was an expert witness along with Kathleen Watterson. They had a particular situation where satellite dishes and such were pointed at her residence, and she was experiencing the insomnia, the migraine headaches and such, and using our magnetic electric microwave detector, they found out that she was overexposed to the magnetic electric and the microwaves, particularly the microwaves coming from the satellite dishes.
Yeah, and that item is on our website under detection devices.
Right.
So Kathleen received a restraining order for ARO company, the satellite company, and for being frequently harassed, and penalties up to 2 years in prison, which I doubt if the satellite company went to prison, and up to $5,000 in fines.
Now, Levi McCann was able to show that standard satellite dishes within a 5-mile radius of Kathleen's home, for instance, were actually not pointed up into the sky, but they were indeed pointed towards the equator, where instead of them being pointed at the equator, where most satellites orbit the Earth, except the defendant satellite dishes, which were pointed at Kathleen's house. He also revealed that the other neighborhood satellites, dishes were geared towards receiving signals for TV, the internet, etc., except the defendant's satellite dishes, which, according to meter reading from our device, were shown to be transmitting microwave signals at her house.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. That's only one out of millions of people across the country that are being targeted in various ways by covert harassment groups, and citizens are being watched, tracked, monitored, tortured, and their private lives invaded and ruined, and many kept in virtual isolation from their friends and family. So it's something to take very seriously.
Now, so you guys can rest assured now that when you take a look at the Kathleen Watterson case, and we have links to it from our website, and we're showing her YouTube videos and all the information, that how she approached it, the lawyer's name, and the particulars of her case. So you guys will know now that if you're experiencing anything even remotely associated to what she was going through, you can contact us and you can take a look at some of the tools, some of the techniques, some of the educational information that we have posted on our website to give you an idea. Now also, go ahead, Carolyn.
Some of the government agencies are just experimenting on people to see what this electronic harassment, how the body reacts. Let's say cancer, actually what is it's called let's start over. It's called experiment, secret mind control experiments. And what they want to see is, does it create cancer? What does it do to people? And it's actually really, really very detrimental to people. And they go to their doctors think they're crazy, and then they tell them to go to psychologists. And all these doctors think they're just crazy. So people really have to find somebody who understands them and will take them seriously.
Now, believe it or not, the framers of the Constitution, they may have had some indication regarding how people can be abused. It looked like in 1928, Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis, Brandeis, wrote in 1928, the framers of the Constitution sought to protect Americans in their beliefs, their thoughts, their emotions, and their sensations. It is for this reason that they established, as against the government, the right to be left alone. The most comprehensive rights. This is the most comprehensive of rights, and the right most valued by civilized men. So it looks like even going back, way back to 1928, the framers of the Constitution were indeed concerned about even something as ambiguous as our emotions and our sensations. In other words, it's not enough to just have laws dictating, what happens when you cross the street or drive too fast, or when someone tries to put you in jail for some crime that you didn't commit. They were also concerned about how we feel and whether or not our thoughts are being overly influenced by what turns out to be, when you fast forward a couple of hundred years, someone using techniques and technologies that allow them to bombard your brain, for instance, with audio signals that are remotely originating from somewhere remotely and convincing you to see, hear, or experience certain things from external sources.
Well, obviously the government doesn't care, because this stems from corrupt elements of the U.S. military intelligence and investigative agencies. And in the 1970s, there were CIA hearings, which were held in the 70s, revealed the existence of secret mind control experimentation being conducted by the government. So that's pretty scary, and, very detrimental.
Now,
people have died.
Right.
I have people call and say, my brother died from this. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's very sad.
Now, some of the things that you guys want to be aware of, there really are kind of sophisticated technologies, and harassment comes in a multitude of different forms. I was talking to one potential supplier who was talking about a technology that allows him to beam audio, for instance, and I'll see if I can find it, audio in a certain fashion, whereby you could literally be standing 100 feet, 200 feet away from the source of the audio, but at the same time, go ahead.
Is that called V2K?
Well, no,
this is different.
This is audio harassment.
Okay.
Yeah, we were talking to a particular entrepreneur who's looking at audio harassment. Now, he wasn't originally concerned about using this technology in an abusive manner. Actually, he just wanted to see if he can come up with a type of technology that's going to allow someone to hear audio even right while they were close, right next to someone else. In other words, he just wanted to see whether or not he can send the signal to, like me and Carolyn are sitting right here next to each other. He wanted to see if he can figure out a way to allow me to receive the audio signal, and without Carolyn hearing it, or vice versa.
Okay.
Now, this is listed on our website, and I think we can actually put a link to this on Facebook where we're streaming this. But this was called, this article is called Using High Intensity Ultrasound for Electronic Harassment and Target Individuals. Now, what he was doing, again, he was basically concerned about making sure that one person could hear the audio in an environment and at the same time, the other person didn't necessarily need to or want to hear it. One of the practical commercial applications might be if we're going through a checkout line at a grocery store, and for whatever reason, I should hear a commercial or advertising regarding, something, candy, toiletries, menswear or something, and the other person didn't necessarily need to hear it. So I think this individual actually had good intentions, but of course you have situations where someone could abuse the technology and cause certain individuals to hear certain things. And this was demonstrated in a library setting where he sent the audio in a direct beam, line of sight type of beam to one person sitting at a desk, and the other person couldn't hear it. So the one person who was a target was looking around trying to figure out where this is coming from, and the other person had no clue what was going on.
Oh, okay. Wow. So I guess that's a lot different than B2K, which is probably a whole different subject in itself.
Well, not really. B2K is voice to skull, okay?
Yeah, where people say they're hearing things inside their skull.
Right.
Which is very scary.
So the end result is basically the same. In a V2K situation, the victim is saying that I'm hearing things, and I don't have any idea where it's coming from. So the problem is, it's still the same difference. What am I hearing, and why can't you hear it, right?
Yeah.
Now the high intensity ultrasound, for instance, was originally developed by the U.S. Navy and Soviet Navy for underwater sonar in the 1960s.
Oh.
And it was also briefly investigated by the Japanese researchers in 1980s. Okay, even though most of this research was abandoned, sometimes you start the research at a certain time and you don't have the necessary technology to make it practical, so you put it to the side for a while.
Well, that's what they say. The government always says something, but they do the other.
Right.
So.
Well, anyway, the technology or the research supposedly was set aside. These problems went unsolved